Well, thanks guys for being here. I know we can't be, guys at the office, but everybody that's in here on the Zoom call, the way the world's going. Um, just a little bit about where we're at. Obviously we're 3-1. We're not very happy with the um, last week's game. Obviously, we had a lot of opportunities to get off the field on third down, which we didn't do. Need to improve on that. Need to get off the field. Them long drives really hurt, and some 4th-and-1s got us. But I think overall our guys have been positive. We're looking forward to this game against Michigan State, which is a very talented team. And it'd be interesting. They're coming off a loss too. And so sees how everybody responds to way, you get a little bit of diversity and as far as, how can you get back on your feet and get going? And I think our guys did a great job this week of just going back to work and can't do anything about the last game. You got to move forward to this game. 3 weeks Wednesday. We got 3 days already in the prep, and we're basically done with all our installs. So everybody knows the game plan. It gives an opportunity to rest a little bit. It was a long trip back, and I think everybody seems to be fresh right now. I'll open it up.
All right. Coach, your first question is from Tom Caker.
Yeah, Phil, good to see you. Wanted to ask about turnovers so far. They're down from where you guys have been. How do you start to generate more of those moving forward?
Well, I think there's a lot of things to do with that. Sometimes, you get lucky. The last couple of years, we've been in good spots and letting it happen, and more experience of guys and knowing exactly what they're doing. I think when you go back and a little bit of, hey, you're trying to keep on pressing and trying to make the plays like you think you have. And all we're just asking them to do, go ahead and play your position, get lined up. And I think play faster, which we kind of simplified the game plan, and it makes them a lot easier to think and a lot easier to play and react. So, obviously we're down. We're not where we have been, but that's the way football goes. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. Obviously, that's we keep on coaching and looking for that, but they'll come to you when they come, and sometimes you get them at different times.
All right, Coach. Next question is from Chad Leistico.
Hey, good morning, Phil. You mentioned the long drives in your opening statement. Do you feel like there's a conversation to be had about being more aggressive, maybe to try to get off the field quicker to get your guys, to avoid those 13, 15 play drives?
Well, yeah, obviously we had them in a couple last week, a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. And, it's just a little bit here. Everybody's, when they're working hard at it, which I thought we were in a good thing, you got to execute, and it's hard. They did a better job than we did on 3rd down. So I think there's some times that we had them behind the 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. That's pretty good. It's not like they had any explosive plays on us, that they were running the ball real well, or they're getting it just a little bit at a time. They were just picking away at us, and it finally caught up to us in these long drives. But I think you got to make sure you call the game as when you got the feel of the game and where you're at and what your kids can execute. And I think our guys are, they're all looking forward to improving what they have. We're 63, 64. I don't know exactly what percent. Our goal is 68. You'd like to be 70. If you're 70, you're doing real well, so, but you just got to keep working on it. You can't, you got to get a little bit better on everybody fundamentals. A lot of times eye discipline is big. And and they're a good football team. So this week is a little bit different story as far as now we're at home. Now you got to be focused a little bit more, and how do you handle the loss, and how do you move forward? And I think our guys have really done a great job the last 3 days here. So I'm looking for a good finish on Friday, and then Saturday, another day, waiting almost another day to get ready to play at night again.
Next question is from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, Phil, I know that disruption is paramount up front in passing situations. Sacks are kind of 1B out of that scenario. What do you think about your disruption in the passing game from your pass rushers, and is it getting there enough for you right now?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that make it. I think there's a lot of guys that are getting it out. They understand who we are, and they're doing little things to try to maybe help themselves out executing when you're playing, and getting the ball out a little quicker. Sometimes you don't have time to get there, so you got to play well in coverage instead of you know, hey, if you can't get there in time enough when they're trying to get the ball off that fast, then you got to use your coverage and make sure to get it. Obviously, you want disruption, and I think there's, you know, our guys have been working hard. You really see the way they've been playing. I'm happy where they're going. I just think we just need to clean some things up in the back end and be more exact and be in better positions where you can make those plays and finish the plays that you need to finish. Because when it comes down to third down, you could be, you know, you might not have a great fundamental play on it, but how are you finishing the play? And I think that's what you know, that's going to be interesting to see how we respond to this week of finishing plays.
Next question is from Tyler Cashman.
Hey, Coach. I hope you're doing well. Obviously, Jay Higgins has had a really good first 4 games of the season. What all do you just enjoy coaching about him?
Well, he just enthusiasm, his leadership, how he does it, and how he understands the game of football. And you know, you talk about the guys that groomed him before with Jack Campbell and Seth Benson, and the way he goes about his business. I mean, football is important to him. He loves the game of football, and this is the positive attitude that he has all the time. You know, going out there and getting guys lined up and making some calls. And I think he's done a great job so far. And you know, we're sitting here at 3-1, and we're coming here and playing a Michigan State team that's 2-2, and they're very athletic. And I think, you know, he's doing a great job of just leading our team right now, and along with some other guys on our defensive unit, just keeping things positive. I thought we had a really good practice today, so looking forward to a good practice on Friday and finish it up.
Good. Next question is from John Steppe.
Hey, Phil, good to see you. Speaking of Jay Higgins, when you've had kind of a run of really good people at that middle linebacker spot with him, Campbell, Welch, Jewell kind of going down the line, what does it allow you to do defensively when you don't really have to worry about that spot?
Well, you know, I think when you have somebody out there that's like a coach out there, that's like you have an extra guy on your staff basically that helps you out and gets you in the right things that you need to do, and he sees things a lot better than a lot of other guys do when you're younger. And the older you get, more mature you get, you start seeing things. And it's just like all of us. I mean, we're sitting in here doing things in our profession, and once in a while you start seeing, hey, I seen this before, and then it starts how you're going to react to it, how you're going to respond to it. And I think that really helps when you have that confidence of the guy going out there. And it's just like Jamari Harris is another guy that, you know, probably didn't play in 18 weeks or months or what it was, and all of a sudden he comes out there, you just feel confident that he's out there, he knows what's going on, along with a lot of other guys. Quinn Schulte understands it, Cooper. I mean, just the guys, how they go about their business and the way they love the game of football. It's enjoyable coaching the guys that love the game of football and want to be good.
Next question is from Jack Lido.
Phil, good morning.
Morning.
You recruit. I'm going to ask you about the 4 guys who were high school quarterbacks that start on your defense: DeJean, Castro, Evans, and Schulte. I'm sure you're not the first guy to recruit high school quarterbacks on defense, and I'm sure as such, this is not the first time you've been asked this question, because you have the previous generation like Hesse, Dravas, Micah Hyde. What do you see in those 4 guys that I mentioned before? Do you seek out high school quarterbacks to play on your defense?
Well, usually when you're out recruiting and you see guys out there that, one, if the quarterback is usually your best player, if on offense, not per se all the time, but I think that's the majority of the time that he's running the thing. And when you're at a quarterback in high school, you have an opportunity to see things a little bit better. And the guys, I think that we recruited, that our quarterbacks, they understand the game. And when you're on that side of the ball, you know what you're trying to do on the offensive side. So it really works out of, hey, you know, you've been on the other side, you know what they're trying to do to you. Can you see it and see the big picture? And that's one thing about it. And really, it's the studying the game and how you study the game. And I think if you're a quarterback, you got to know the game, because there's a lot of different things you have to control. You're like the Mike backer on defense, but in the back end there, I think Quinn's done a really good job. They're just so aware of what's going on, and that's the positive thing about it. The more you know what you think that you're going to get, the faster you play and the bigger opportunities you have to make plays.
Coach, next question is from Mitch Fick. Sorry, Mitch, I accidentally lowered your hand.
Fine. Hey, Coach, you pointed out not a ton of explosive plays against Penn State. Does that at least offer some encouragement that it's not it's not the machete, it's the paper cuts, and is that an easier cleanup effort heading into Saturday?
Yeah, I think, obviously, you don't give up the big explosives, but they start getting a little, they're making it manageable third downs at times. And when you do that, and they want to go for it on fourth down, and the line changes for some of those guys, or where they want to, go for it on fourth. So I think it's it's a little things, that the details that win games. And sometimes you might never notice what the detail was, because you really don't understand the, I'm not saying you in person, but I'm just saying that just the small little things that happen in a game that you see. And it might be just maybe a stance, or maybe where his guy's eyes are at, or, how come he didn't fill this gap, and why is that? Whatever it is, whatever the reason is, it's just a small little things that can push you over the edge. And it's not like, I'm sitting there looking, there's a lot of guys that are 0-4 right now, and we're lucky to be 3-1. And I think we have a great opportunity going into this game, and have an opportunity to have a chance to go out and play again. And that's what our kids need right now.
Next question is from Chad Leistico.
Hey, Phil, don't know if I'll get back in again, so I'm going to throw a two-parter your way. Cooper DeJean hasn't had necessarily the production, stat-wise, but curious how you would grade how he's played so far this season. And also, you had a decision to make when Jamari came back and Deshaun Lee played pretty well the first 2 weeks. How would you grade kind of where that battle, I guess, is at the other corner spot?
Well, we'll start with Coop. The one thing about it is, he had a really great year last year, and had a lot of statistics going on for him as far as interceptions, returns, and stuff like that. And then you start going and guys make choices over on the offensive side. Are we going to try to attack that guy, or are we going to go to the other guy? And then the first couple of games there, we're playing Deshaun, which is a younger guy that went up there and held his own. He wasn't perfect. There were some opportunities, but he was in there because of Jamari was not available. And when Jamar came back, he was, I think, Harris done a good job. And, the confidence that he brings out there. And I think he brings the confidence to the other guys on the unit out there when they're out there together. And I think he's a very positive influence on our kids. So, not saying, I mean, there's times where some guys are going to have to go in there and rotate in, and especially when you have a lot of plays, you might have to rotate more than I probably want to.
Next question is from Scott Docterman.
Yeah, Phil, I don't think I've ever asked you about your vantage point in that 2015 final drive in the Big Ten championship against Michigan State. Probably the most physical grueling game I've ever covered. And 22 plays, 9 minutes. What do you recall from that? And what is it about this series that just seems to be rock'em sock'em robots, and has been since you were a player on the other side?
Well, I think their philosophy is the same. You might say that, we all eat at the same restaurants. I think their mentality is the way they play physically, offense and defense over there from Michigan State, and the way that big 2015 championship game, it was a battle, and it was a guy that's going to last, and that's who we are. You got to be tough, you got to be physical, you got to be disciplined. And going back to look at, there's a lot of plays you can go back and look at it, and if just one guy makes the right thing, the game's over. But that's what it's all about. You just don't know what 5 plays in a game that's going to make a difference. And which is a good challenge for us, because I think it's a team that, they're going to come in here ready to play. I know Harlan Burnett for a long time. He was the first year there in '86, and I was becoming a GA there. So I have a good history with him, and I know that he'll have the team ready. And I know what he's about and how he played, and, just as a person. So I think he's going to have his team ready. So it's really going to be a good game, a physical game. And, we're looking forward to the challenge, but I think this game is, I don't know if it means more than anything else. A game is a game. Once you play the game, that's it. And then you move on to the next one. So we're looking for our best, and we still have a chance on our side of the West. And, there's only 8 more games there. We're a third away done playing this season right now. There's a long way to go, but it goes fast.
All right, Coach, the last question will be from John Steppe.
Sebastian Castro, what have you or how have you seen him grow since last year's bowl game, and what do you see as kind of the next steps for him?
Well, I think he's a very interesting guy. I mean, he's very quiet, doesn't speak up very much. You know, he just does go out and does a great job. If you look on film, I see him the other day. Matter of fact, it was yesterday's practice where I saw him run, and it's just totally different how he's running to the ball than some other guys, and say his desire to get to the ball, and he's a very physical guy, and he's got really good ability, and I think he's really moving up the scale. I think he's a very productive player, and he'll probably, you know, he'll be seeing more of the field more and more. And I think there's a guy that has a chance to, you know, keep growing. And I really like the way he's going. You know, when he hits you, he hits you. And I think he can see things fast, and he knows how to go get the ball when he has to.
All right, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate your